pretty awesome. The only doodle that I don't like is this last flower. I feel like the orange and the outlined center of the flower just looks really weird. So that's the only one that I would change. And then on Wednesday, I took my first spin class, which was pretty intimidating, but I'm very proud because I was able to get through the entire class. I love this week. I have a matching spread in my Hobonichi cousin, which I will show later. This is a very bright underwater theme, and I pulled in some of the pink and like the coral, and I doodled some flowers and also a starfish, and I just really like this color palette. And then this is this current week. It is a very hot week once again, as you can see, so I thought it was appropriate to do like a yellowish theme with pops of green. So that is everything for my Hobonichi weeks. Moving on to the Hobonichi cousin, I will show my monthly spread first. This is an ice cream theme, so the colors are like the Neapolitan ice cream, strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. I think it looks really sweet, and I also think it's a nice change from the bright colors of May. And then, yikes, it is, I think, July 3rd today, or July 2nd? July 2nd, and I have not finished setting up July, so I will do that at some point. It has been a busy few days. I think this is where I left off last time. Again, half of this week I was in London, and the other half I was back home, so that is why there's this like split color scheme. Woke up late on this day. This week I used a set of stickers that I got from, I think, Jet Pens, and this was like a modern house furnishing set. Sorry, I don't recall the names of these sets, but I did a little bit of color coding. So I brought out the warm yellowish orange, and I used that ink color for all of my personal things, and then as usual all of my work things are written in black. I really like this color palette as well, especially with the pop of dark foresty green. Oops. Okay, this next week I did a Plan With Me on. This week I didn't use any stickers nor washi tape to set the theme. I just used my markers and color pencils to doodle these flowers at the bottom, and I think it looks really cool. And this week was very exciting because we had the June pre-orders, and also we had a Father's Day dinner, so that was nice. Okay, I guess I was really into florals for these few weeks. Again, I didn't use any washi tapes nor stickers. I just doodled some lavender at the bottom. This is a very peaceful color palette, I think. Oh, and then on this week, I went on a few dates. And then, as I mentioned, I think in my previous video, I get very drained from social interactions. So on this day, I just like fell asleep after dinner because I was so tired. At the top here, I put down this like speech bubble with a question mark, and I wrote utility guys coming at some point. So if it's something that I don't know when it is going to happen because it's outside of my control, I usually put it at the top. I met up with some local planner friends on this day, which was really fun. And then this was the matching spread I was talking about. Here I put down this pineapple guy and I wrote work hard, play somewhat. And then this is when I had my beach date, which was very fun. And then we had another local planner meetup, which was also very fun. And then this is this current week, which Tuesday was Canada Day, so I went for like a red and white theme. However, I realized that apart from the Christmas emojis washi, I don't have any other red washi tape, so I will have to change that very, very soon. So yeah, I just used the general white washi. This is like the Office Life one, and then I used some gray and pops of red. Okay, moving on to the daily section. The Hobonichi colors for June is this like foresty green, so I doodled some forests. And then these were swatches of some inks. These were some inks gifted to me from some customers I met in London. So we have the Great Wall of China, Rustic Brown, Sunshine Yellow, and Black Dream. I think my favorite is the Great Wall of China, and also Black Dream. I tend to like greens, blues, and darker colors. And then this is a list of things to look into. Lead crime hypothesis, fountain pen tuning and grinds, recipe for mushy peas. This was a quotation from the book Stoner, which I've mentioned in my previous update. This is my all-time favorite book. If you're gonna take one book recommendation from me, it is Stoner. Anyways, this is a quotation from it. The person one loves at first is not the person one loves at last, and love is not an end, but a process through which one person attempts to know one another. And of course, I made a mistake here. And then I went a little bit nuts with these stickers because I just wanted to use up the sticker sheets. So this placement makes no sense. Okay. Ooh, I really like this one. I used some stickers from Dear Whoever Shop, and they're just like funky scrapbooky stickers, and I think it looks really cool. This was the day I revealed the June pre-order washi lineup, which I was really excited about. This prompt: have you ever started liking someone who you previously disliked? And I couldn't think of an answer, so I just put a box here and I wrote answer at some point. I honestly just could not think of someone who I really disliked, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will have an answer at some point. On this day, I spent some time just catching up with my sister, which was lovely as always. Some brainstorming. I cooked some things for my parents: kale chips, bean sprouts, and salmon. Apparently I didn't answer this prompt. Uh-oh. I am falling off, apparently. Oh my gosh, I have to show you this. Revamp drink doubles. Double. Doob. Doodles. That is a prime example of my brain malfunctioning. And then on this day, I started looking into growing microgreens, and I did actually start growing them, and they are thriving. On this day, I played with my nephew Luca. I got him this tablet for him to draw on, and it was really fun. This was a little swatch of the Platinum Chokuro ink. This was a bit of a crazy day. Oh, okay, yes, here's why. It's because I forgot to take my meds, so that just completely threw me off. And I believe I wrote this in the late afternoon. I think this was a much better day. And I used some of the Q1 subscription items. This was another kind of crazy day. Just to summarize, I did my usual morning routine and work. My sister came over because she wanted to have a quiet place to work for a few hours, and then my computer crashed and I couldn't get it up and running again. Found a note from my dad from 2019, which kind of made me emotional. Some boy stuff. Okay, and then on this day, my new toaster came, which I was really excited about. I moved into this place a few months ago, and for the past few months I have been microwaving my bread, which I know is going to be offensive to some people, but I just put off getting a bread toaster for some reason, and I finally decided to get a bread toaster. So yeah, now I have toasty bread, which is great. This was the start of the washi pre-order, which was very exciting, and I wanted to do a top 3 stats sort of thing on each day of the pre-order. However, I quickly realized that the top 3 at the cafe, Spring Bookshelf, and Crafty Crafters, they were gonna remain as the top 3 throughout the entire period, so I felt like it was kind of pointless. And yes, those did end up being the top 3 sellers in that order. And then for Father's Day, we had Korean soup, mango cake, salmon, and broccoli. I also did a video on this one. Monday was a strawberry theme. I went on a sushi date. Design marathon, my little review of the Platinum Chokuro ink. Wednesday, the spin class that I was talking about. This was another date downtown at a bakery. On Friday, I was feeling very drained, so I have this low battery doodle. And then, yes, this is when I fell asleep and I woke up super confused. Some ink samples, a little recap. Sometimes if I skip a day and I feel like going back and filling it out again, I usually draw a rewind button. This was one of the local planner meetups. Every time I go to one of these meetups, they always bring me a bunch of yellow ink samples for me to see if it's like my perfect yellow, which I really appreciate. I do really like the pen BBS 560. Oh, also, on Thursday when I went downtown for my date, I also stopped by the Vancouver pen shop and I picked up the Robert Oster Vancouver pen shop ink, and I really like that one. This is when I started growing my microgreens, which is really exciting. I have broccoli, peas, and red radish. And I also went on another date on Monday, and it was to El Santo, and I had my first taco, which was very good. Tuesday, I went on another date. This was at the beach, and I haven't been to the beach in a long time. It's the Kitsilano beach, and I did something pretty cool, I think. So I used the Oceans washi, put down a strip, and then I ripped up some pieces of paper and layered it and made it look like sand. This lighter tan was from my property tax envelope, and then this darker craft paper was from some other packaging. And then I used Posca pens to write beach day. Also used some fish stickers. This was a really nice day. And then the next day I did a lot of catch up. I think I really struggled on this day. And yes, in the morning, so I ran from the gym to the bank to do a wire transfer, but I realized that I brought the wrong card. So then I ran home, and then I ran back to the bank, and then I ran back home again. So it was kind of crazy. Get it together, dude. Screaming. A very elegant scream. I also wrote trying over here. And then this was like a little DIY thing that I did. So I took one of the tea packets and I turned it into an envelope. And then this is like a little stack of paper, and I attached the tea tag to it, and this like pulls out. I'm not gonna pull it out because the point of this was for me to write some thoughts down without people seeing, so yeah. Then on this day, I ordered some stuff from IKEA. I ordered a mirror and 2 dining chairs because for the past few months, I have been living without any dining chairs. And then this was another planner meetup. I made some cinnamon twists to bring to the meetup. And then we have some more inks. Yeah, this was really fun. This mono reverse pen was really, really cool. And then this was kind of a wild page. So I was, again, really busy on this day, and I didn't get a chance to really sit down and take a breather until like midnight. And I guess I was just feeling like playing with watercolors, so this is how this all came together. So in the morning, I was looking for some more like home furnishings because, again, for the past few months, I just haven't really decorated my house. I spent 5 million hours at the bank because I had to do another wire transfer. And I think the teller that was helping me, she was relatively new, which is fine. But yeah, it just kind of set me back a little bit for the day. I also put together the dining chairs from IKEA. I put up the mirror, which was a whole other drama. And I was just feeling very tired. So yeah, those were all of my spreads in the Hobonichi Cousin. I think I was getting some hand cramps, so I didn't finish writing my July prompts. I will do that in a second. This is it for the video. Compared to the past few months where I like went to Chicago, then LA, then London, I feel like this one wasn't as exciting, but I'm very happy with all of the spreads here. I hope you have a wonderful July and take care. Bye. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. This is definitely an overdue May planner and journals update. It should have been done last week, but I really wanted to upload the London journaling vlog first. But anyways, as you can see, I have a lot to talk about today, so this should be a pretty fun one. I'm going to start with my reading journal as usual. I think for the first time, I am actually responding to pollen. I never had issues with spring allergies, luckily. But for some reason, this year my throat is really, really dry, so I do apologize if I sound a little bit strange. This is going to be all over the place. I'm still reading the book of Disquiet. It's very choppy. in the sense that every chapter is like sometimes just a few sentences, other times it's like maximum 4 pages. So I tend to just like read very little at a time, and it's one of those books that it's not like super continuous, so it doesn't really matter that I take breaks from reading it. So yeah, all that is to say, I am still reading the book. I think I added a few more notable quotations and thoughts since last time. But, oh my gosh. I finished the book Stoner by John Williams in May. You know how like when people ask, what is your favorite song? I think for most people, it is very hard to have a single song to say that it is above all the rest. Similarly for books, I think it is also kind of difficult to say, this is my favorite book. And I never really had an answer. I always had an answer that's like my current favorite book. However, I think this is my answer, and it has been several weeks since I finished it, and I already moved on to other books, and my answer has not changed. So I don't think it's like the novelty or anything. I genuinely think this is my absolute favorite book, and as you can see, I've written quite a bit about it. This was mostly written with the Esterbrook Esti in the fine nib and Sailor Nobiru. I got a sample of this, and I'm very tempted to buy the full bottle. And then the accent was written with the Lamy 2000 fine nib and Robert Oster Day to Night. I think it's a really nice contrast. Needless to say, I highly recommend this book. And I just like loved this book so much that I decided to start reading another book by John Williams, and this is a book that I'm currently reading. It is called Augustus, and oh my gosh, this is such a fail. I tried to doodle the person's face, and I thought it ended up looking like he got lip injections or something. I will insert a picture on the screen of the cover so you can see what he should actually look like. Okay, and then this might be a little bit curious. This is my Marcus count. Very early on in this book, I realized that there are so many characters all with the name Marcus, and it was getting comical, so I started a little stick figure Marcus count. And it also doesn't help that 3 of their last names start with A. Anyways, so far I am enjoying this book, but not as much as Stoner. I think I just haven't really gotten too much into it yet, and I also find that this book isn't as quotable or note-taking worthy. Not worthy, just like I don't have much notes about it. Alright, gonna move on to the commonplace journal, which unfortunately I also did not write very much this month, or last month rather. I think last update I said that I wanted to write a lot more, but that never happened. I just have some entries from the Enchiridion, and then the only other thing that I really looked into was the Abilene, is that how you pronounce it? Abilene paradox. I don't know how I came across this topic, but I started, I think, with a Wikipedia page. So that is the darker text. And then I got a lot more interested in it, so I looked further into the paradox. These are notes from the original paper, I believe. So that is that. I think last journal update I said that I wanted to read 2 articles every week, maybe. That never happened. Then I have my Hobonichi Weeks, which is my health and fitness journal. This is my steps and workout tracker. I draw the little bars to indicate that I was traveling, and as you can see during my travels, I wasn't very consistent, but that's okay. I think I left off here last time. This is a really pretty Japanese style cherry blossom and mountains theme. This washi is really cool. I don't know if you can tell, especially on the foil part, there is a little bit of a texture, and it's throughout the entire roll. I don't recall where this is from, so I will put the name on the screen. Okay, this week I really do not like it. I wanted to do like a really cool, all doodling, very contrasting black and white theme, but I think I should have planned out my doodles a little bit more. It's just kind of messy looking, and I used a marker for the border. I definitely prefer the pencil look, so let's move on. Yeah, and I was also sick these few days, so I didn't really work out. This is a cute little buildings washi, and this gives me a really warm and cozy feel. Okay, and then this was the start of my London travels, so again, not too consistent while I was traveling. And then for the habits, I decided to just draw horizontal bars. Oh, I should actually fill out the highlights. I will do that later. But yeah, anyways, I started drawing the bars for the days that I was away, because when I'm traveling, I'm obviously going to be spending money. Skincare is down to like a single product, and then I'm usually on my phone before bed anyway, so yeah, I just didn't really bother with that, and I continued after I was back. This washi, I don't know where it's from because it came on a sample card that one of my customers sent me. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but I tried to replicate some of the floral doodles on the side, and I think it really ties in the spread together. And I wrote, I wanted to find a mushy peas recipe. Is it mushy peas or mushy peas? I think mushy sounds more right. I don't know. This is the current week, and I'm using this like mauvey berry pink color. This is 817. Here I got so into doodling that I forgot to change to a green marker for the stem. So that is why there's a random pink stem. Alright, I think that is it for my Hobonichi weeks. So I'm going to talk about my Hobonichi cousin. Then I will talk about these things at the end because it's not too much to show. As you can see, I am not a very neat person. I feel like some people might have the impression that I'm very neat and organized, but no. Just as an example, growing up, I have literally made my mom cry one time just due to how messy my room was. Like, it just doesn't, unlike my sister, I don't have the inclination to put things back where I got them from, and I've really been trying to like come up with systems to help me, and I think I've gotten a lot better, especially after moving into my own place, but I still have to like actively keep myself in check. Anyways, that is a whole other tangent. This is my May monthly, and I just love this so much. I love this color palette. I think it is so pretty. I have gotten a lot of requests from people to turn my monthly kits into like weekly kit themes. And honestly, it is impossible for me to do that for all 12 months without hiring some other graphic designer to help me put it together. Anyways, I do want to turn a few of my favorites into full weekly kits, and this is my top contender. And then this is June, which is a ice cream theme. This is a very long arrow to mark the June pre-order week. All right, let's move on to I don't think I finished my previous sentence. Let's move on to the weekly section. I think I already talked about this in my previous video, but I wanted to find a different way of using the vertical washi tapes apart from just like time blocking. So I did this kind of ripped look, and I think it looks really cool. I had this really fun idea of taping the T tag thing on this page, and I drew in my own little string, and I think it looks really sweet. I also did a little bit of color coding for this. I used green for all of my personal stuff and black for work. I get a lot of flyers in my mailbox, so I decided to cut out a bunch of different letters and use them as date covers. And I think this looks really cool. And it's mostly free as well. This is a week that I left for London, 3-2-1 travel day. It was an overnight flight, so I drew the bar all the way here, and then I drew 3 little bars just to kind of indicate that there was a time zone change. I also often split up the habits on the side for when I travel. And I really like this newspaper pairing. Okay, then I came back on Wednesday, so I made the first half of the continuation of this theme. And then for the second half, I used this really fun peach and checkered washi. One of my customers gave this to me. Honestly, I used it just because I didn't have any other washi that kind of contrasted with this one enough. But I do really like this pairing. Again, a split sidebar, and I drew a circle around this one because I woke up at, I don't know, maybe 5. I took my meds and then I fell back asleep, and then I took it again when I woke up the second time, so yikes. And then this is this current week. I'm using these cute little deco stickers from Swatelier. I don't know if that's how you say the name. I pulled some of the colors from the deco stickers for the sidebar, and I really like this color palette. And I'm also doing a little bit of color coding, this like yellowy orange for personal stuff, and then black for work, as always. Okay, daily pages. We have some fun ones to talk about. You might be wondering who these cats are. These are my friend Linda's cats, and she kindly gifted me Polaroids of them, so I had to stick them in. Why? I don't know, but I think it's cute. Okay, then May 2nd, I went to Nemesis Coffee with my sister just for a little catch up. A lot of random duck stickers because, again, this year I'm really trying to use up all of my stickers, so sometimes it just doesn't really make sense. Here, yes. So I was walking to somewhere, and as I was waiting for the light to turn green, a car rolled down their window, and someone was like, "Helen," and they started waving at me, and I didn't recognize who they were, but I like waved back, although I was probably like frowning because I was trying to figure out who it was. Turns out it was a customer, and that is why I didn't know who they were. I was like super perplexed the entire walk, like who was that? But thankfully I was put out of my misery and they told me that it was them. Okay, then on Sunday I hung out with a bunch of planner friends at Cha Time, a bubble tea place. We did a bunch of ink swatches and writing samples with everyone's pens. I really like this color palette. And then on this day I bought my nephew an orange, and you will actually see that a little bit later as well. I think I was having a bit of a rough day, so at the end of the day I made a list of things that I'm currently loving. Ooh, yes, I really like this color palette and theme. I'm using the Q2, I think 2023 subscription, or was it sorry, this is 2024. It's a nautical washi, one of my favorites, and I just love the contrast between the coral and this like seaweed blue-green. Busy day, and I also bought a rice cooker. On this day, I received the most thoughtful gift ever. With my Esterbrook launch, there were several retailers who hosted their own little party sort of thing, which I thought was really cool. And one of them was the Pen Boutique, and I don't know, I feel like I should be thanking the retailers for, you know, celebrating this launch and promoting it, but they actually sent me a parcel with like signatures from customers who attended their event, and they also gifted me a platinum fountain pen. I guess I should grab and show you. Okay, this is the platinum coffee jelly fountain pen. It's probably hard to see because it's so dark, but this is like a reddish brown color, and this is also a broad nib, which is definitely not what I typically go for. However, because I mostly have fine nibs and extra fine nibs, I'm actually really happy to have something different, so I can do like cool headers and stuff. So that's why I was like crying, literally, especially the notepad of signatures and messages. It was just so unexpected and incredibly sweet of them. So anyways, this was my little writing sample with the fountain pen. This is also my only platinum fountain pen, which is awesome. What is not so awesome is that I think on this day I kind of came to terms with the fact that I was definitely sick, which is not great. Some washi swatches, and why was I laughing? Oh my gosh, you know how at the back of my Hobonichi I keep track of the produce stickers? I don't stick the stickers in here like immediately after eating the fruit or veggie. Like usually I'll stick it to the side of my counter, and once I accumulate, I don't know, 5, I will put it all in here in one go so I can save some time. So I had like 3 labels on the side of my counter, and again, I was getting sick, so my sweet dad, he came over to my house with a bunch of ingredients to make me some porridge with like really healing and healthy ingredients. And I suppose he thought the produce stickers were garbage, so he threw them away. And I only noticed the next day when I was getting ready to stick it in my planner. I was like, wait, where are my stickers? So that's why I was laughing very hard. These were some items that I designed for London. A bunch of things that I've been putting off that I really wanted to get done. It was Mother's Day, but I didn't go because I didn't want to get her sick. Okay, and then, oh boy, I think just in the past few months, we have been getting just so much bad luck with production delays and shipping delays, just all sorts of problems. It has been very draining. And I think these few days, I just had so many problems, one after the other, and that is why I wrote crisis, and I like extended this journaling entry, so this is like one long paragraph. I didn't even write a to-do list because like I couldn't plan what I had to do because it was just all urgent problems, so I had to deal with things as they came up. Let's move on from that. This is a very bright spread. I really like this color palette. The prompt was, do you want to live longer than the average life expectancy? So I did some searching of what exactly the average life expectancy is, so there's that. On this day I went out with my sister. We had Chipotle coffee and I got my nails done. Ooh, I like this color palette. It was based off the Hokusai washi. We had a new release on this day. A few hectic days because I was getting ready for my London trip. And what happened here? My finger. Oh yes, for my London workshop I included like a little outline card, and those cards I used a guillotine paper trimmer to trim down to size, and you can kind of see, oh, maybe I shouldn't show that, but yeah, I accidentally nicked my finger while cutting with the guillotine paper trimmer. I had dinner with my mom and dad on this day just because I wanted to spend some time with them before I left for London. I was scrambling these few days and I thought scramble sounded like Scrabble, so I did these like Scrabble looking blocks. Yes, so this starts my really fun section for London. Yeah, I have been doing these like Dutch store styles for when I travel. So for the sidebar, I again cut up pieces from the flyer, and I think I did a whole video on it, so I won't get too much into it. I glued down the actual flight or like bits from my boarding pass. You know, I like nowadays the boarding pass, you have the digital version. I always request for the physical printed copy so that I can stick it in my journal. I left in the afternoon on this day, so before I left I had some things to do. I made a little checklist. I won't talk too much about everything that happened, a lot of bad luck while traveling, because I already ranted about it in my video. This started the actual pop-up and workshop event. This was a stamp that I designed for the event. Workshop day 2. I had some social things on this day, and then this was like a photo booth series of photos with Chloe, and I used a little emoji sticker to glue that down. Created this little flap so that I can document everything that happened, and this is a sticker from Buns from Home. On this day I spent most of my morning with Bronte, so again I documented everywhere that we went to, and then I just ran out of space because on this last day I really wanted to just like hit up as many spots as possible, so I created this little fold out thing so that I can write down my time at the British Museum, when I went to Twinings, the roasting plant, and the Big Ben. And then this is where Bronte signed my planner before we left. These ribbed pieces are diagrams of the tube. And on this day, I had Pret twice. Once for my coffee in the morning and then once for lunch/dinner. Okay, Thursday, I had a lot of things to catch up on. That was basically my expression in the morning. Good morning. I woke up in another dimension. So that wraps up my wonderful London trip. And then here I did some swatches with Abby's washi. These were washi tapes gifted to me on a washi sample. A little sticker that Joanna gave me. Appropriately, I came back with a lot of different teas to try from London. This is an Earl Grey tea, and I think this might be my favorite Earl Grey that I've tried. So yeah, I do have stuff for June, but I will save that for the June planner update. Oh wait, the back. Okay, so it's only June, but this is usually the time I start thinking about next year's monthly collection because it takes me 5 million years to design them. So yes, I am already starting the 2026 monthly collection, and this is the start of my project tracker. No empties in the month of May, and my planner gained 20 grams in the past month. Very nice, very steady. All right, and then to end off this video, I will quickly talk about these things. I don't have, again, too much to show, but I just want to talk a little bit about my plans. So I got this, I think, from Midori many years ago. Okay, by many years, I mean like 2 to 3 years ago. You might remember it from one of my hauls. Sorry, it's not Midori, it's Traveler's Company. But initially, I wanted to use this for traveling. I suppose I just never did. Recently, I decided to pick it up again and start doodling my nephew in it, just with colored pencils. I have only done 2 pages so far, but I think it'll be really cute to try to do a few every week and, I don't know, have a little like album of sketches as he grows up. So yeah, that is my project. These are both kindly gifted to me, one from Veronica, and then another one from Rena. I think I generally don't really enjoy using traveler's notebooks as my primary planner, so I've been trying to figure out different ways of using it, and so I'm using one of them currently for some like math and game theory stuff. This one is accounted for, and I'm gonna keep doing that. But then I still have this one, which I didn't feel good about having this sitting on my bookshelf, so I finally have an idea. So with like all of my traveling and stuff, I collect a lot of these like ephemeras. Also, customers will often send me cards or vinyls, things like that, and I feasibly cannot use them all. Even with like these few days, it's already looking very messy, and at maximum I can fit like 2 to 3 pieces of decoration on there. I think what I'm gonna do is start up a journal where I just paste in all of the things that I cannot fit in my main planner, and that way I can still keep it, and it'll be a great way to look back on all of my memories. I think it was Bronte who gave me this idea. Now it's really bugging me. I really want to give proper credits, but anyways, I'm gonna start doing that, and hopefully with my next planner update, I will be able to show the beginning stages of that. So yes, that is it for this planner update. As much as I'm having fun with all of my traveling, I'm definitely excited to be back home for the next few months and get back into my daily routine. So yeah, anyways, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and take care. Bye. Hello, hope you're doing well. This is my April planner update. I feel like I don't have anything too interesting to share this time, but April was kind of a blur for me, so maybe we will come up with something. All right, first up is my reading journal, and in the month of April, I didn't finish any books. However, I finished a book on May 1st, so it's close enough. And it's actually pretty interesting because, let me zoom you in. Right, so around November of 2024, I started Take My Hand, and I think I read maybe 20% of it. And it's not that I lost interest, but I just put it down and never really picked it back up. However, during my trip to Los Angeles, I read part of it on my flight, just on my Kobo e-reader, and it just got me hooked in again. So like 5-ish months later, I ended up coming back to this and finishing the book, which is pretty much unheard of in my lifespan. Once I put away a book, I rarely come back to it and get back into the story. So yeah, this was a really good book. I gave it 4 stars, and I haven't finished writing my thoughts about it, but this is just what I have so far. Okay, and then I'm still reading the book of Disquiet. This is written with the Forgotten Iced Coffee ink, my collaboration ink with Esterbrook, and it is written with a medium nib. However, I will tell you the story behind this later, but for a number of reasons, I no longer had my pen inked up with Forgotten Iced Coffee. So towards the bottom, this is written with Coffee Monster, my collaboration with Robert Oster, and Twisby Extra Fine, medium extra fine. So yeah, I think I will aim to finish this in May. And then I'm also starting Stoner by, is it John William? Something like that. I'm actually pretty proud of myself for staying somewhat consistent with reading despite my busy few months. Okay, then I have my commonplace journal. This is my Leuchtturm B6, and I don't think I wrote too much in here. I did add, or rather started using, the table of contents. I'm not doing any color coding, and I'm also not writing every subject in here on the table of contents. I'm only writing down things that I feel like I might want to come back to in the future. So that's why I wrote notable things. This is an article from Scientific American about a shape, and this was my awful attempt at drawing the shape. And a lot of people on Instagram thought this was a onesie, which I can see where you're getting that from. Okay, and then these I already showed last time. This was my thoughts about having children. I haven't done my philosophy readings in quite a while, so I did 2 entries yesterday from the Enchiridion, and that is literally all I have for my commonplace notebook. My goal this month is to read 2 articles every week, so hopefully I can populate that notebook a little bit more. Then I have my Hobonichi Weeks, which is my health and fitness journal. I haven't finished updating April yet, but this is a pretty good overview. And I think I mentioned this last time, but I drew these bars to indicate when I am traveling so that I can kind of see when I'm out of routine. And obviously my steps and workouts are going to be a little bit different. I still have to draw the bars for May because I'm going to London. Very, very exciting. Not too much to say. This is my running, my workouts, a little highlight or multiple for each day, my habits, and then this week's section and things that are on sale at the grocery store. This is a really funky color palette. Alright, so this is when I was in LA, so you can see that I marked in my travels, and it was for the Esterbrook collaboration, so I used those stickers. And then for the habit tracker, the top one is a money sign to mark in my no spend, and I basically, bought something every day, so I wrote, I was in LA. Okay, this was the next week. I wrote take it easy in reference to mostly to my workouts because I felt a little bit out of shape after a few weeks of not consistently going. And then this week I started something exciting, but then I canceled it after 2 weeks. There's this service called Odd Bunch, and they basically take, I think, slightly imperfect or just produce that would have gone to waste from distributors. They put it together in a discounted box, and it's a weekly subscription. So I started one this week. That's everything that I got. Oh, for the next week I doodled it in my Hobonichi Cousin, But yeah, I canceled it after 2 weeks just because it was making me a little bit stressful, like trying to use up everything. So I think I prefer being in control of my produce. This week I doodled some flowers and I messed up over here, so that is why I brought in these like little bird stickers to cover it up. I think it turned out pretty cute. And then this is this current week, which I haven't really updated. It is already Saturday, but I will update it later. So that is all I have for my Hobonichi weeks. Still loving it, and this is probably like the longest I've been consistent with the Hobonichi weeks. Then we have the Hobonichi cousin. This is the April monthly spread, and I used the new quarter sticker. Super shiny. Whoops. Okay. I don't know where to put this. I'll just put it over here. The theme for May is farmer's market, and let's see, I designed this like around September or October of last year, so I've been waiting like 6 to 7 months to use this kit. I just love the colors so much, like the burnt orange, the little random pops of purple, and yeah, like look at this color palette. I love it. Anyways, I said May would be a rather quiet month, but I don't know. Judging by the monthly overview, it doesn't look very quiet. Should be a fun one though, because I will be going to London. Alright, then for the weekly pages, this one matches the Hobonichi weeks. Again, I love this funky color palette, and I think I was just really busy this week, so as you can see, I wasn't really keeping up with my reading, and honestly, I can't recall what I did today. It was kind of a blur. This was my week in LA, and when I think of Los Angeles, I think of cotton candy colors like pinks, light blues, purples, stuff like that. So I kind of just layered a bunch of light pink, blue, purple washi tapes, and I think it looks really magical. This one also matches the Hobonichi weeks. Oh yes, I did a plan with me on this one, and still I wasn't really keeping up with reading because I was just in catch-up mode after all of the traveling. This one, I love it. I used the Q2 subscription washi tape, and I believe I called this Antiques from the Attic, maybe? And I think this is the first time, maybe, that I used like hand-painted little illustrations from my sketchbook on a washi tape. And I think this works really well, honestly, for spring, summer, and autumn. So, pretty versatile washi. Also, you can see that I did a little bit of color coding. This is one of my new favorite ink colors by Jirobon, and I had a lot of people asking me if this is my perfect yellow, which I have been on the hunt for, and it is not my perfect yellow. I bought it fully knowing that it would be like too orange and gold leaning. I bought it just because I love the color. I got it from Atlas Stationers when I was in Chicago, and basically everything that's personal, I wrote it with this golden yellow color, and then all of my work stuff is just in black. I really like this color coding look. This is this week, and I did something a little bit different. These are vertical washi tapes, and apart from like just time blocking, I wanted to find different ways of using it, so I did this kind of framing situation, and I think I do like how it looks. Okay, moving on to the daily pages. I walked for 1.5 hours only to realize that I didn't have my Fitbit on. The funny thing is, this exact same thing happened like a week ago, so yeah, it's a common recurrence. I also drew this a long to-do list. Here we have the Q2 subscription washi tapes. Oh, I love this doodle so much. Again, it was a very busy few weeks. and just like at the worst possible time, my computer just crashed. Using more of the 1/4-2 washi tapes. This is a very elegant scream. And then more screaming. Oh my gosh, why is there so much screaming? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yes, this was the launch of the Esterbrook collaboration, so that's why I didn't really have a to-do list. All I did was just reply to emails, social media comments, and managing the launch. It was a very hectic and nerve-wracking day for me, hence this doodle. You will see this later on as well. I basically took some craft paper packaging, ripped it up, and I used a white Posca, what is it called? Posca marker or something, and I wrote it on top. It's like a white paint marker. Oh yes, also throughout April, my mom just kept getting fevers. Actually, not even throughout April, just like early 2025. She's gotten sick quite a few times, so I have been quite worried. This is a funny story. This guy saying, "Excuse me, is that for scoliosis?" So basically, nowadays when I run, I wear like a running vest so I can store my keys, my phone, and if I need like energy gels or something. And after my run, I went to the grocery store and I was looking at eggs. This middle-aged man came up to me and he was like, you know that like vest you're wearing, is that for scoliosis? I told him no, it's for running, and he was very apologetic, but I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Okay, so this was the day before I left for Los Angeles, and I did another Dutch store sort of thing. So for my trip to Chicago, where is it? Yeah, I made the Dutch store this way, so the top heading is consistent. And I don't know, I think I don't really like the almost square look. So for Los Angeles, I decided to cut off the side, and this was actually a lot easier because I didn't have to like rip out the threaded part, you know? And yeah, I really like this skinnier vertical look, and the sides are the consistent headers. My trip to Los Angeles. Also, I used the same craft paper packaging from here. A lot of people thought these were stickers, which I was very flattered by, but no, it's just craft paper that I ripped up. And then these tiny little washi stickers are these ones from my store. Again, I was worried because my mom got a fever like right before I left, and for a second I considered canceling, but yeah. Anyways, yes, I flew from YVR to LAX, got stuck on the 405, which I thought it was notable. And then for dinner that night, we went to Erewhon, which I feel like is a classic LA thing. And then this was the day of the Esterbrook collaboration event at Flax Pen to Paper, and it was an awesome event. So I wrote best day ever. We went to Ministry of Coffee, and here again I wrote it was like, again, the best day ever, except at the back of my mind I was worried about my mom the entire day. So yeah. Okay, and then we went to the Getty the next day. I suppose this is where I can talk about the reverse architect grind that I got from Gina. So I know it's kind of I don't think it's selfish, I don't know, but I'm keeping 2 of my pens for myself. So this one is an extra fine, and this is inked up with the golden yellow color that I was talking about earlier. So this is more for regular writing, and then this one used to be a medium from the demo video that I did and stuff. This is a pen that I had. I wanted to get it especially ground by Gina into a reverse architect. With the reverse architect, writing normally gives you the extra fine. I requested for Gina to do an extra fine, but then you turn it around and you get this cool architect grind. So the downstrokes are thick like that, and then the horizontal strokes are thin. So you can do some cool fonts with it. And I have been loving this especially for signing cards on orders because I use a reverse architect, like the thicker one, to write my customer's name, and then I use the normal extra fine side to write my thank you note, and it's just really cool. So this is a very special pen apart from the fact that it is mine. And the story behind why I stopped using Forgotten Iced Coffee to write is because I told Gina that I already had it inked up, but they forgot and they dipped it into, I think, like a bright blue, so it turned into this like kind of blue-gray, which is actually really cool. So yeah, that's why it's no longer Forgotten Iced Coffee. Okay, anyways, furthermore, on Thursday we went to Earth Cafe. We also went to the Santa Monica beach, and I had goop for dinner. I also had Din Tai Fung for dinner, which I didn't enjoy very much, so I got hungry in the evening and I ordered more food. This was my last day in Los Angeles, LAX to YVR. We went to Koreatown and just had some little bites. And I think that's it for Los Angeles. It was a really good trip. This was definitely a hectic day. Overslept and basically just catching up on work. I don't really like these few spreads. I just wasn't feeling too creative. And on this day, I spent a lot of time just doing quality checks of the fountain pens. So it was tedious work and I didn't really do much else. Too busy for a to-do list. One thing after another. Yeah, we ran into a lot of bad luck with like production delays and stuff, kind of all at once. So it has been a stressful few weeks. Works in the stationery industry, but somehow cannot find a pen and paper for a meeting. This was, I think, the first day of early voting for the Canadian election, so I just went on this day. A little grocery list, and this one looks very crazy. I met up with some planner friends and we all brought our pen collections and different ink samples. So this is what happened here, where we just like swatched a bunch of things. Obviously not curated and aesthetically pleasing, but I feel like these sort of things are just so special and I love having it in my planner. And then this was from my daily journaling video, which I posted last week. Very warm colors. This was the upside down entry. This was the Odd Bunch delivery, which I canceled after that. And then again, I forgot to wear my Fitbit. And then this was Sophia's birthday, my assistant. If you have emailed us a few times, you might get a reply from her. And then these are little doodles that I made of my nephew. My sister definitely got lucky because Luca loves cleaning and like putting things away, and that is him holding a mop. I was packing some orders and then I was trying to perfect a kale chips recipe. I had these kale chips at Erewhon when I was in LA and it tasted so good and I was craving it, and I have been trying to make my own. This was the Canadian election day, which I almost forgot about because again, I did advance voting and yeah, I just forgot. But I tuned in while eating dinner, and that is my emotional support potato on a fork. Last 2 pages of April. I was really going through it the past week and a half-ish. I think I'm slowly crawling out of my little rut sort of thing. But yeah, on this day, I just didn't feel like writing at all. However, that's fine. I just put down a sticker and I wrote not today. And technically, I did journal on this day. Just wasn't a full spread. But the next day, I just kept going. Yeah, we did subscription signups, renewals, and then signups, which is always a very hectic time in terms of emails. So that's basically what I've been doing the past few days. Okay, I will quickly go over the back. I keep forgetting in my update videos. This is my fruits and veggies tracker, which is starting to fill up. So I will probably need the next page as well. Maybe the next 2 pages too. And then this is my empties tracker. I don't know the correct way of saying this. La Roche-Posay. This is a cleanser which I've been using for forever and I finally finished it. And then I also finished a bottle of apple cider vinegar. Okay, and then this is my planner weight tracker, which my planner only gained 5 grams in the month of April. And my theory is that, there we go, pages that I cut out here. And I also didn't paste in anything too heavy this month, as opposed to March where I pasted in like this like tea bag and stuff. So yeah, not a big gain, but that's okay. All right, I think that is all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and next month should also be an exciting one because I will be traveling to the UK. I don't know, I've never been to the continent of Europe and I'm very nervous. Not because it's Europe, but because, like, you know, it's a new setting for me and I don't know how to act, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, and take care. Bye. Hello, I hope you're doing well, and I hope your month is going well as well. That is too many wells. Anyways, this is my March planner update, starting with my reading journal. I did not finish a single book in March. I guess this is where I should preface and say that I was really busy in the month of March with work, so I just didn't have much time to read. I also didn't write a single thing in my commonplace notebook. I also didn't really have the energy to doodle in my pocket bullet journal. So yeah, this is gonna be a very minimal planner update. Anyways, in the month of March, I started reading the Book of Disquiet. I think I am like 17% through. I read a big chunk of it during my trip to Chicago. And the ink that I'm using here is the collaboration ink with Esther Bruck. I find that on the Stalogy paper, this shows up a little bit more gray, maybe. But then on the Hobonichi paper, it shows up more brown, which is kind of interesting. And just for contrast, I used blue for the vocab. So far, I am really enjoying this book, and it is almost scary how much I relate to some of the passages. So yeah, lots of quotations that I saved and thoughts about it. That is all I have to say about my reading journal. I also have a busy April and May, so I'm actually not confident that I will finish any books in the upcoming months. I will try though. Okay, this is my Hobonichi Weeks, and it is my health and fitness journal. This is my steps and workout tracker. I was a little bit inconsistent due to traveling, and I thought to kind of indicate that I would draw these little bars. This is for Chicago, and that is going to be my trip in LA. Okay, then for the weeklies, this was March 1st, and I did a Hokusai theme. And I forgot this happened actually. At the gym, I dropped a 25-pound plate on my foot, which, I don't know, my life is comical sometimes. Okay, and then this was my shop anniversary week, so I used the stationary toolbar washi, and these are the day number doodles. Went to the trampoline gym with my friends. So March 5th is the anniversary, but we had the sale on the 15th. And this is another, this is another anniversary washi called Tabletop Treasures. This is when I left for Chicago, and a little recap. I really wanted to run outside in Chicago. I even brought like my running vest and gloves, but I don't know, things got too overwhelming and I just ended up running on the treadmill. Anyways, this was last week when I got back to routine, which I was very happy about. These are cute little veggie stickers that my friend Diana gifted me. And then this is this current week. These are washi stickers from Midori. I really like this funky color palette. So yes, that is all I have for my Hobonichi Weeks. Last but not least, we have the big guy, my Hobonichi cousin. This is my monthly spread, and I honestly did not add a single thing after I set this up at the beginning of the month. So yeah, the last few weeks are definitely missing some deadlines and maybe notable events. I've said this before, but my monthly spread I can definitely go without, and I decorate it just because it makes me happy. But also, like at the beginning of the month, it really helps me to kind of visualize what the overall look of the month is going to be. And if I do happen to, you know, actually use it throughout the month, then that's great. Okay, then this is April. Of course, tomorrow is the Esterbrook fountain pen launch. I'm filming this on Friday, by the way, and I love this. This is a new quarter sticker that came in the quarter one snail mail and pen pal subscription. There we go. A few birthdays this month. Okay, that is it. And then for my weeklies, I guess I never finished this spread. Cool. Yeah, this happens sometimes. I often slack a little bit on the weekends. But again, this is the Hokusai theme. This is, again, the anniversary week, so I'm using the stationery toolbar washi. I have been really into coordinating my spreads, so this is matching, this is matching, I think this is matching, yeah, wait, no, I mean kind of, but not really. Anyways, oh, let me put this back. I am all over the place if you can't tell. I really wanted to point out how I marked going to the trampoline gym with my friends. I used 3 of these like jumping emojis, and they just look so happy, and I love that. Didn't really fill out Sunday. And then this was the anniversary sale week, so I used the Tabletop Treasures Hobonichi Cousin kit and also some of the day doodles. Slept through my alarm. Literally just emails all day. And then I had a break, and then emails continued. This was my very exciting week in Chicago using the Emojis in Chicago washi tape, and I still have not put up the extras yet. Oh, I guess this is where I can say the organizers of the Chicago Stationery Fest has agreed to letting me like modifying the sticker sheet a little bit, and so I am getting those cut, and then we will put up the Chicago sticker sheet and the washies. The vinyl sticker I'm not going to put up just because at the bottom it says Chicago Stationery Fest 2025, and I feel like that's not really relevant to most people. Oh, but if you are interested in the vinyls, the organizers, Paper and Pencil, they will be putting the vinyls up on their website. Okay, anyways, I did an entire video about this, so I won't go into detail. A very memorable week. I was still in Chicago then, and I came back Tuesday around midnight, so it was quite a trip. And as you can see this week, there isn't really any theme. I just used the most random colors, and I actually really like how this looks. Sometimes I like it when things are cohesive, other times I just like random colors. And then this is this current week. And I do know that I matched it with my Hobonichi weeks. This sticker set from Midori has these ink and fountain pen stickers, so I put them on Saturday because that is of course the collaboration launch. Okay, moving on to the dailies, which is a little bit more exciting actually. So March 1st, bad luck and bad things. I doodled this emoji that is like, my foot, because as I said earlier, I dropped a 25-pound weight on my foot. So I don't think I actually verbally made a sound when that happened. It was really painful though, so I don't know why that was the case. Anyways, what else? Yes, I drew some earthworms because on March 1st, I received a shipment of either the Esterbrook pens or inks. I can't remember which one. And on the FedEx parcel, there were like 3 giant earthworms, and I didn't notice them. So I brought it to my kitchen. I, very excitedly opened up this FedEx parcel knowing that the collaboration items were inside. I did all of my swatches, took some pictures, and then when I went back to the kitchen, there were these giant earthworms on my kitchen counter, and I just had the worst shivers down my spine. Disinfected everything. Okay, anyways, let's not talk about that anymore. I no longer open any packages in my kitchen, and I thoroughly inspect the outside of packages before I bring it inside now. Okay, productive morning, bougie fruits, fail. So my best friend moved away to Germany on the 24th. So during the month of March, we really wanted to hang out as much as possible. And one of the things that we have always talked about doing is buying like those really expensive fruits at the grocery store, and I don't know, I guess just like indulging. So we planned on doing that, but then the expensive strawberries looked very like dry and ancient. And then what else? I don't know, I just remember that we had a list, and the only expensive fruit that we ended up buying were these like green grapes. So it was kind of a fail, but it was fun nevertheless. Good morning. I really like this doodle. And then this was the anniversary washi. This is when I filmed the promo video for the Esterbrook collab, and we have the ink. And yeah, this is what I was saying. The ink appears a lot more brown on Hobonichi paper. Sweating bullets. Oh yes, I was nervous because this was the day I announced the Esterbrook collaboration. And I was mostly nervous because it is obviously a more expensive product, at least for my audience. So I don't know, I just didn't feel totally confident about it. And I didn't want anyone to feel bad for not being able to purchase it. Anyways, I also wrote a little reflection about the anniversary. This was a doodle of us at the trampoline gym, and my internet bestie Lauren, she sent over this like arrangement of chocolate covered strawberries, and it made my day. So I had to keep the little sticker. Finally some sun, which always makes me happy. I recently got a cold brew maker, and I already made a few batches and it turned out really, really well. So if you are into cold brew, I would definitely recommend. Confession. I was really tired, so I ended up sleeping on the floor because I didn't want to go upstairs. These stickers, I know, look really random, and I only put them there because I really wanted to use up this sticker set, and yeah, I just put them in random places. Like this cheese thing makes no sense, but it is what it is. Does introversion apply in digital spaces? I meant to Google this, but I haven't done so. A little pickup from Sephora. I slept through my alarm, and my sister came back from China. She went for about a month, so we had a sister debrief on this day. And this was Pi Day, so I always do a little nod to that. This was the day of the anniversary sale, and typically I don't do a to-do list because usually my day is just taken up by doing emails. This was a tea that my sister brought back from China. Very plain day. And then this is the beginning of my little experiment. I decided to cut down the top part of my Hobonichi and do this Dutch door thing. So this way, during my trip to Chicago, I always have this constant header. And another good thing is that because I typically don't have as much time to journal during my trip, this cuts down on the amount of space that I need to fill up. However, I actually ran out of space, so maybe that wasn't so smart. But I made a mistake, and I cut a few too many pages, so this header is here even like several days after I came back from Chicago. So I definitely will be mindful in the future and pay attention to that. So a little to-do list, and on this day I went to Big Way Hot Pot with my friends. I think this was the last day I hung out with my best friend. She left on the 24th, but because I was leaving for Chicago, we had to meet up before I left. When I landed, I got Joe and the Juice, and yes, I was selected for like additional security screening. It's random, so I promise I'm not a shady person, but I didn't know this was a thing, and it really freaked me out. So yeah, I had to save that. I went to the Art Institute of Chicago, and I had sushi with Lindsay and Randy. This is my doodle of intelligentsia, which thank you to everyone who helped me learn the pronunciation of this. I think I said that right. That would be embarrassing if I said that incorrectly. Okay, and then good coffee at bad coffee. The coffee shop is called Bad Coffee, and the coffee was good, so that was the joke there. Went to Atlas, and these were the swatches of the new Wildliners, which Randy had, and she kindly let me swatch them. I still have not purchased them myself though. These are some of the stamps they had at the fest. I really like the contrasting colors, and this was one of the most stressful days of my life. I ranted about it in my vlog, so I will not rant about it again. It was not a fun time. But the next day, I kind of took the morning off. These are some new markers that I purchased. Had a matcha Americano at Goddess and the Baker. And then I had a meeting at Atlas. This was my last day in Chicago. And then, as I said, I cut too many pages, so I was already back in Vancouver at this point, but we still have the Chicago header. Anyways, these are the swatches of the new inks that I got and some of the pens that were in the goodie bags. This was a tea bag that one of my customers gifted me, and first, the tea was delicious, but also I thought this packaging was just way too pretty, and I didn't want to throw it out, so I saved it in here. And then I taped the little cardstock thing, but left the top part untaped so that I can kind of secure it like that. These were some writing samples with the various Esterbrook nib sizes. And on this day, I FaceTimed my best friend, and we caught up on a few things since she left. I got a hard-boiled egg maker, which is a little bit gimmicky, but it's actually really useful. And I just cut out one of the things from the instructions. Whoa, I do not want to read this. Okay, so that is everything for March. I think the highlight is definitely this Dutch store thing that I did for my trip. I think that is the most exciting thing, and everything else is pretty much the usual. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, it is currently Friday, so I don't really know how the Esterbrook collaboration sale is gonna be like tomorrow, but hopefully it goes well. Thank you so much for all of your support, and wishing you a wonderful April. Take care. Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. It is time for my February planners and journals update. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say in this intro, so let's just get started. Let's start with my reading journal, which is getting really dirty. That is probably coffee, and that is fountain pen ink, which is very on brand. And I had a really good reading month in February, which is exciting. And by a really good reading month, I just mean I was able to finish one book. I started The Post Office Girl towards the end of January, and I finished it on February 21st. Oh, I do have something interesting I can share. All right, so last year in Toronto, I hosted a little workshop, and kind of as a memorabilia sort of thing, I purchased this Pilot Custom 74. and I haven't really shown it on this channel and on social media because I just felt like there was something wrong with this pen and I couldn't put my finger on it. It felt really scratchy and just unpleasant to write with. I don't know if you can tell from my writing, but it's very inconsistent. One of my friends came over and tried this pen and he said that it's possible there's some residual stuff in the nib and it might go away as I use it. So that is why I tried using it to write this longer piece of text, and it just never went away. I also bought like micro mesh and brass, whatchamacallit, like brass sheets, there we go, to try to fix it myself, but it just wasn't working. That is when several people suggested that the nib is possibly misaligned. And then one of my friends, Carola, she was headed to the California Pen Show where a nibmeister, Gina, they were having like nib tuning appointments. Long story short, Carola was able to get Gina to tune and smooth this pen for me. So then, look at how beautiful the writing is now. It's so smooth and consistent. And again, I don't know if you can tell the difference between these two paragraphs. And I really think that after tuning, this is like much smoother than what it would have been like even if it didn't have the misaligned issue. So yeah, that's the story behind this pen and the writing here. So in between, when Carola was in California with this pen, I used my Pelican to write some of the entries. Here I was like changing the pen and ink, and then I got my pen back. Very exciting. But yeah, about this actual book, 5 out of 5, loved it. It made me, I don't use the word depressed lightly, but it did make me feel depressed for a few days. Quite a bit of writing. It's a rather short story, maybe like 200 pages, but as you can see, I had a lot to say about it. And then right after finishing this book, I started my next one, which is The Door, and this is the book that I am currently reading. This is translated from Hungarian. I am also loving this book. It's a little bit bizarre, and I really don't know where the story's going, but so far I'm loving it. I am using the Aurora 88 fountain pen with the Aurora brown ink, and previously I would only use my red TWSBI inked with red to do my vocabulary, but then at some point, I don't know where, but I realized that if I use red with like a warmer colored ink, like for example brown, it's not as obvious, and the point of using a different color is to make like vocab and important notes jump out at me. So I decided that if I'm using a warm reddish color for the main text, I'm going to use blue for the annotations and vocab. So that is it for my reading journal. I think for March, April, and May, I'm probably not going to read a lot because I have, I'm flying to 3 different places across 3 months, and I am mentally preparing myself for that. This is my commonplace journal. I started this, I think, 2 months ago. This is where I write down notes from articles that I read, just like really random stuff. I don't really have a outline or anything. I already showed a few pages, I think. I think this is where I left off. These 2 margins I just draw with a pencil, and I do a lot of journaling about philosophy, notes from articles, philosophy, a little bit of math, philosophy, article, some notes about olive oil, philosophy, a little bit of math, philosophy, article. Oh, here. Oh my gosh. So this is around the time I got my new Aurora fountain pen, and literally within 5 minutes of using it officially, I dropped it on this notebook and ink splattered everywhere. So that is what happened here. Thankfully, the nib is okay, but oof, I would have been devastated if something happened. Here I left some blank space because I am currently reading Interaction of Color by Joseph Albers. And this is about interaction of color. And yes, I can put my notes in my reading journal, but for some reason I just felt like this was more appropriate for my commonplace, and I just put my DIY page marker here. And then this was like a personal written entry. I don't want to say essay because that sounds like it should be so professional and grammatically correct, but it was just like a thing that I wrote about my relationship with my mother. The gist of it is just that I was very frustrated at myself because I often snap and talk rudely to my mother for no reason. And I was really trying to reflect on why that was happening and what I can do to fix it, you know? So yeah, there's that. Is that too much information to share? I don't know. Here I wrote some notes about American football because I didn't really know anything about it, and the NFL thing was going on. So yeah, I just picked a random article to read. These are some notes about fish notes, mostly salmon. I haven't finished writing this, so yeah, I'm gonna write more notes about fish very soon. So those are all of the pages that I filled up in my commonplace notebook so far. I promised someone in my Facebook group that I will make a DIY video featuring vellum, so I will try to get around to that at some point. All right, moving on to my Hobonichi weeks. This is my health and fitness journal. This is my steps and workout tracker. I don't think anything notable to say. I also don't have much else to say about the weekly section because I haven't changed a single thing about this. Here I spilled some coffee, so on brand. All right. A lot of people were amused by this bread washi, especially this dude with a mustache and a loaf of bread as his hair. Unfortunately, I don't know where this came from. One of my customers sent me a bunch of washi samples, so I'm not too sure. If you recognize it, definitely let us know because it is so funny and totally up my alley. Put down a blob mode emoji because I had a full rest day. Usually I try to do either a run or a workout or both a run and a workout, but I had a few days where I needed to, I knew myself and I knew that I needed to take a full rest day. I've mentioned this on Instagram, but this year I am really trying to use all of my stickers, whether it's from my own store or from stickers from other stores. So a lot of the same stickers you will see across all of my different spreads because I am just like really trying to finish and use up every single sticker of every single sheet. So yeah, this was a lovely set of stickers from Jet Pens. I think it's from Midori. And then this is this current week. You will see later in my Hobonichi cousin that I also did a Hokusai spread. This just happened to fit perfectly across the bottom. So yeah, that is it for my Hobonichi weeks. All right, my Hobonichi cousin. This is my February monthly. I have yet to set up March. I'm gonna do that right after filming this, I think. For the weekly section, this was Lunar New Year week. So I used the Lunar Skies washi and these cute little cat stickers at the bottom. And I guess I didn't fill out Saturday and Sunday. That's okay though. This was a very snowy week. Yeah, we randomly started getting snow in February. So yeah, I finally got to use a lot of my winter washi and winter stickers. And yes, okay, so it's hard to tell on camera, but this is actually the Robert Oster Polar Vortex ink that was in collaboration with Atlas Stationers of Chicago. It's a very dark grayish purpley blue. It does look almost black on camera though. Now this is actually black. This was Valentine's week and I completely forgot about Valentine's Day, and I guess I just wasn't really in the mood for like a full-on pink week. So just to kind of poke fun at it, I use this black Midnight Magic washi on all of the days except for February 14th. And I think this is a fun idea. Speaking of which, this was funny. Usually on my sidebar, I have a section for habits and this week. So I first used pink to do my swatches, and I accidentally wrote work at the top over here instead of habits, and then I wrote habits at the bottom over here. Later on, I realized my error, so I used my black Staedtler highlighter and I covered up the pink swatch, and I used my Sakura Jelly Roll to rewrite the titles. But instead of correcting habits to this week, I wrote habits again. That's what happened here, and I gave up on fixing that a second time. And then this week I did a Plan With Me on. I used the Sardines washi tape, and this made me very happy. And I really like this color combo, this like denim blue with a bright red. I wouldn't have done this color combo if it wasn't for this washi. This is why I love using stuff from other artists, because I get inspired myself. And then this is what I was talking about, the matching Hokusai spreads. I think I released this for my birthday event 2 years ago, and it is one of my favorite collections, so I actually had a second batch made, and I will put it up at some point. I don't know. Many of you know this flaw of mine. I have way too many product ideas, and I just never put them up. So you have to keep reminding me. Okay, February, let's check this off. 28 days of journaling. February 1st, as you can see, this is already off to a very different start from my usual layout. This was a day of the subscription enrollment, and it was a very, very busy day, so I didn't need a to-do list. My to-do was just manage the subscription enrollment. So yeah, this was just some journaling and prompts, and it started snowing on this day. These two washi's were also from the washi samples that my customer sent me, so I don't know where they're from. Here I drew this like squiggle because I wanted it to be like a backdrop for a header, but then usually I let things dry before I write on top, but then I forgot to write whatever header I was supposed to write, so I was like, I forgot what I wanted to write. What is better, homemade? What is better, store-bought? And my answer was bread I think is better homemade, like fresh out of the oven, and I think fries is typically always better at like a fast food chain or a restaurant. Okay, this was very bright, a lot of snow, so I think I was inspired by wintry colors. What is a skill or area of knowledge you would like to develop this year? I want to get better at playing chess. And then here are some notes that I wrote for my reading journal video, just things that I wanted to cover. I stuck on this sticker on my electric water boiler thing because it said to take off, please remove the sticker before use. And I had it on the water boiler for like 2 months. I love my friends. My good friend Lauren and Cindy sent me some gifts, so I was extra grateful. Here I used this sunset washi tape, and I love these colors so much. I just realized I didn't write in the headers. Sunday reset. Again, my friend Cindy sent me a little care package, and she included a bunch of like random cat and silly animal stickers, so I just put them everywhere, and they make me so happy. This little duck and this cat, I love it. I had so many people ask me on Instagram, whose cat is that? And I didn't have an answer. It was just a random cat. This was a fun washi tape of coffee mugs. Oh my gosh, brain fart. This is a fun I was about to say coffee tape again. This is a fun washi tape that my friend from China sent me. I love the rainbow so much. I used the Midori washi stickers that I also used over here from the same set. It was a busy day. This is a Mountains and Meadows 2.0 washi tape. Things are fine. Did a little bit of scrapbooking sort of thing with things from my friends. This was a little doodle that I made representing my thoughts about changing bed sheets. Fresh bed sheets, happy. Putting on bed sheets, that expression, whatever that is. I remember I was so tired because this was one of the shop updates. Again, it was nighttime. I was so tired from doing emails and stuff. And then I realized that I still had to put on bed sheets, and I really thought about just sleeping on my mattress. But yeah, I did end up putting on the bed sheets. Anyways, this is an artist desk washi tape that one of my customers sent me. I believe it is from BGM. There's a little bit of foiling. What happened here? Nearly lost my mind. Oh yes, on this day I had so many design deadlines, and I was really like set up for a productive design day. And then when I got to my computer ready to design, I couldn't find my design pen for my tablet, and without it I can't design. And at first I wasn't panicked about it because, you know, it's happened before. It's probably like on some other desk or mixed in with some other pen, but I could not find it anywhere. I started like crawling on the floor, looking at every nook and cranny. I looked in the bathroom, I looked in the closet, I looked on the balcony, which I haven't really gone on the balcony. And then I decided to look at the place I really didn't want to look, and it was my outdoor garbage can. The day before, I ordered sushi, and I threw my tablet pen away with my like sushi container. I had to like sanitize everything. It was so gross. Anyways, this was Family Day, which is a holiday here in Canada. This was covering up a doodle that I messed up. I don't want to rip the paper, but yeah, I didn't like that very much. Here I did some swatches of some Esterbrook inks. These are so fun. I love the names of these. Incredible Rock, Quirky Leaf, and Funky Lake. Speaking of funky lakes, I doodled some random fish. I love this little puffer fish. My friend Corolla came over. She is the one who helped me get this tuned, and I got to try out a bunch of her new pens and grinds, and that was super fun. And then because I was so happy with how the pen turned out, the nib tuning, I decided to kind of break my all black ink sort of thing, and I did the spread in blue. This is Pilot Iroshizuku Asago. I have the ink cartridges, not the actual bottle, but it is one of my favorite blues. And I love this as well. Good morning, good noon. It was exactly noon at this time. And then on this day we had an earthquake. That was really random. What do you look forward to doing when you're older? And then I doodled this like, get off my lawn emoji. I was just joking. My actual answer was spending time with my nephew. And I didn't have much time to journal on this day because my best friend went to Germany for a month to visit her boyfriend, and then she came back, so we got together on this day. And she got into a master's program in Germany, so she's leaving again in about a month, which is like obviously very bittersweet because we have been friends since like grade 3 in elementary school. So I'm obviously very excited for her, but I'm also a little sad, to be honest. Anyways, we just ordered sushi for dinner, which was really nice, and then my parents also stopped over on that day, so that was nice. Sunday, I wrote down some books that I wanted to read. And then again, I used the Hokusai washi and stickers because I really wanted to finish up that sticker sheet. Honestly, this past week or so, I have been in the trenches with my mental health. And I feel like that kind of reflects on my spread as well. Like, even though I did doodles and stuff, it just doesn't look as passionate as my other pages. I don't know if other people can tell, but I can definitely tell. I wake up, I work, I sleep, repeat. I try to brighten my mood up with some like floral washi. So yeah, those were all of my daily pages. And then for the back section, this is my fruits and veggies tracker. I don't know what I added, but yeah, there's probably a bunch more since last time. And then this is my empties page. I think since last time I finished a tube of hand cream, which I didn't think was possible. I also finished my first bottle of fountain pen ink, the Diatramentis Document Black, and I already have a second bottle going. I mentioned that I will start showing like some products in my update videos. This isn't necessarily like a favorite, but when I started getting to the end of my ink bottle thing, I got this Ink Miser ink shot, and it's a little bit gimmicky because I'm sure there are alternatives, but especially for piston fountain pens where you can't really use a syringe to get out the last few drops, you can use an eyedropper and get the ink in this like ink shot, and then you can fill your piston fountain pen that way. So that is what I did with my Diatramentis Document Black ink, because we are not wasting ink over here. And then I also finished a box of tea. This was notable because it was a box of 40, and I've never finished such a big box of tea before. So all right, and then this is my planner weight tracker. My planner is weighing at 542 grams, gained 26, is that right? Yeah, 26 grams. And then at the back, I also quote unquote refilled my stickers thing because it was getting quite empty. And I think that is all I have to share for this planner update. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. It is going to be pretty crazy with my shop anniversary coming up and all of my traveling. It might be a little bit out of routine for my videos for March, April, and May, but I will try my best. Thank you again for watching, and take care. Bye. Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is my first planner update of 2025, and I'm really excited to dive in because I actually have a lot of updates this month, and I also have a new fountain pen to show you. I'm a little bit low energy currently just because we did the Q1 subscription slot openings, and there was a lot of stuff surrounding that. Anyways, let's get into it. This is my reading journal, and based on your comments, I plan on making a full video dedicated to my reading journal for next week. I made a video maybe 2 years ago about it, but I have changed the way I do things, so I will do an updated one next week. And I am very pleased to say that I finished a book in January. I am not one of those people who can read like 50 books a year, so one finished book a month is already a pretty big accomplishment for me. The book that I finished was Notes from Underground, and it was a solid 5 stars for me. Although, like a lot of Russian classics, it makes me question my entire existence. So I don't know if I should have started my year with this book, but I really enjoyed it, and I took quite a bit of notes. And then immediately after, I started The Post Office Girl by Stephen Zweig. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the last name. I was wondering why his name was so familiar, and I realized that he actually wrote one of my favorite short stories. So yeah, I was very excited to get started on this, and I am about a quarter through, and I am loving it so far. So really excited to finish this hopefully in February, and maybe I will start another book in February as well. So that is all I have to say about that. Next is my Hobonichi Weeks, which I use as a health and fitness journal. So the actual weeks are gonna look pretty much the same, but I'm very excited to show you all of the note pages that I have added, because I think in my last update I didn't have any of this. But first, this is my year at a glance, which I'm using to track my step count and my workouts. And I swear I do this every single year. So they have the numbers to the side, and then the days of the week on each of the columns. But then just like by instinct, I always accidentally shade in the number, at least in January. And I was like, I gotta stop doing this, oh my gosh. And then I did it again. So I was like, dude, I still have to write in my monthly average, but so far so good. I think this is where I left off last time. Yeah, I haven't changed my layout at all since starting in November. And I think that's a good thing. Like, I'm happy that I found a layout that works for me right away. And I usually just pick a color and base everything off that. So we have yellow, pink. This is something that I was trying with like primary colors. Not sure if I like it though. This is a little bit of foreshadowing. I was supposed to do a long run, but I only ran 1.7 miles because I felt like something was off. And then following that, I'm currently still working through a running injury. Lots of green, and I used the tea time washi tape. And then, yeah, this is this current week, which I have yet to fully fill out. So yeah, this is all pretty much the same. And then I will show you my note pages. This is the table of contents. I might add more later in the year. So the first thing that I added is my last cleaned tracker. As I have mentioned, I recently moved into my own townhouse, so I am like doing a lot of cleaning. And for things that I don't clean every week, like for example, the blinds or the stair railings, stuff like that, I want to keep track of when I last cleaned them so that nothing goes like too long without being cleaned. So that is my idea for that. I left a lot of space for that because I clean every week. Okay, and then I have a section for my 2025 health and fitness goals, which I have not achieved anything so far. So I have an hour on the Stairmaster, 1 single push-up, 1 single pull-up, run a half marathon, take a Pilates class, a 3-minute plank, take a dance class, go on a hike, and stay alive. So if I achieve something, I'm gonna check it off, and then maybe I can write some notes on the side. So there is that. And then this is my section for quotations and advice. So yeah, just like things that I find to be profound, and I wanna keep it somewhere. This is where I plan to put it. And then I have a section for travels. So I will be going to Chicago in March and then London in May. And then I do have, I believe, one other trip, which I haven't shared about yet, but I will make announcements as soon as I know. Anyways, I feel like with most traveling, there are like a certain set of items that you're always gonna bring, like passport, chargers, stuff like that. So I made this overall checklist, and that way I don't have to make a new packing list every single time. So I'm just gonna check it on each of the grid squares. And then I have a dedicated page for Chicago and a dedicated page for London. I get very anxious about traveling and I need like a full schedule. So I have like when I'm gonna leave the house, when the flight's gonna board, etc. Down here, I will put things that I need to pack specific to this trip and any other notes that I have, I suppose. For London, this is gonna be a red-eye flight, so I just made an indicator of that. And I think that's it. Still a lot of pages left, so I can add more things as time goes on. And then the last page, this is my 100 page, which is where I'm supposed to keep track of my running, and the idea is that I want to do 100 runs this year. A flaw is that I run basically every day, almost every day. Evidently, in January, I ran 25 days. So yeah, I don't think this is enough for the entire year, but I guess that's a good thing. So that is all I have to say about my Hobonichi weeks. And this is, again, I'm just so happy that I have finally found a use for the Hobonichi weeks that actually works for me. All right, last but not least, I have my Hobonichi cousin, and somewhere in between I will show you the new fountain pen that I got. Very excited. This is my January monthly, pretty full. It looks a little bit cluttered after the month is over, but yeah, I like how this looks. And then this is February, which I just filled out today, so it's pretty empty and there's a lot of potential. I also doodled some lavender in the space down there. So there's that. This is just where I keep track of my major deadlines and important events and appointments. I think this is where I left off last time. This is like a furniture theme. And then I used the Helen's Sketchbook washi with pops of pink. Oh my gosh, January was such a weird, long and weird month. I just remembered this was a week I went on like a bunch of different dates, and that has been completely erased from my memory. So strange. Okay, and then here I used the Fruits and Veggies washi, very bright and fun. I did a plan with me on this, I think last week. This is a self-care sort of theme. And then this is this current week, which is Lunar New Year on Wednesday. And I had dinner with my parents. I used the Lunar Skies washi, which is so pretty. These are adorable cat stickers, which one of my customers sent me, so I just stuck them to the bottom. They don't really match the colors of the Lunar Skies washi, but I think it still looks good. I haven't really planned much of today because I have been very busy with the subscription stuff. So yeah, that is it. So far so good. I wrote all of the daily prompts on here so that I can easily reference it. And if you're interested in following along, it is published on my website. So for January 1st, I always say I don't pressure myself to fill out the spreads in full, but for the first day of the year, I really did want to make this a nice and full spread. So there's that. On the 2nd, my best friend came over and we had sushi, which was really nice. This is a little doodle of a yogurt bowl and some little bows. This is very special because, okay, so I used to follow this account. Her account is Allison Ceramics, and this was several years ago. She does beautiful ceramics and pottery, and I have just always been in awe of her. She stopped posting for maybe a few years, I don't know, and I guess I kind of just like forgot about her. And then last year, I found her account again on TikTok, just like really randomly. She does some different content now, more about like food, and we kind of started chatting again, and she sent me one of her bowls that she made. You know what? Let me grab it. Okay, so this is a bowl that she sent me. It is so pretty. I use it almost every day, and it's very special because not only is this something that I can't really buy and it's handmade by her, but also because like she is someone who I have looked up to for a few years. So yeah, very special. Is this the beginning? Yeah, I think this begins my week of going on random dates. I don't know what came over me, but yeah, on this day I went to Coaster's Coffee. I doodled some random flowers. This coffee spot was really good. On this day I noticed I hit 100K on TikTok. I think it was actually 101 because I just didn't notice. So it's still a little bit of a pinch me sort of thing. I am a very normal person, and I don't like to be perceived as someone like a public figure. So I don't know. Anyways, what happened here? I was making like a flow chart of what I needed to do to convert all of the subscriptions. That probably doesn't make too much sense. These are some doodles that I did for the tutorial. I didn't want to throw it away, so I saved it. This was, I think, another date. Oh yeah, this is another date. Okay, and then on this day I had a spiral. So lovely. I really like the light blue and black combo. But yeah, on this day I booked my tickets to Chicago and London, which I was very excited about, obviously. This was a very busy and productive day. Did some design work, went on a run, cleaned the house, and then more design work. Sunday I hosted dinner, and these were more doodles from the tutorial. What happened here? Oh yes, so I went to the gym as I normally do. Everything was normal. And then when I got back, the power was shut off for my townhouse. And I checked like the outage maps and it was just me. So I was very confused. And turns out I didn't properly set up my BC Hydro account, which is like the power thing here in British Columbia. So they shut my power off. And I felt like a failure of an adult. I'm just kidding, but yeah, that was an interesting day. I was playing more with the primary colors. On this day, I was feeling very low energy because I had a meeting surrounding like finances and accounting. It was a very long meeting, very far away. So between traffic and speaking with several people for like 3 hours, I felt very, very, very drained. And then I have to talk about this. So this was around the time where the talk about the TikTok ban was happening. Let me zoom you in. Anyways, I posted a video of my spread and my good friend Cindy commented like, why are we using the same color palette every week? This is getting scary. And then I commented back because I'm her Chinese spy. I don't know if you get the reference, and I don't know if anybody else will find this funny, but this is like one of my proudest jokes. Okay, I will stop talking about that. Moving on. Ah, excellent. This is when I can show you my new fountain pen. I present to you my new fountain pen. This is my very first Aurora fountain pen. I think I have concluded that Italians make my favorite fountain pens. I don't want to be too repetitive, but the context behind this purchase was I was having a very rough few days, and instead of healthily coping, I did some impulsive shopping to make myself feel better. So yeah, not my proudest purchase, but I am glad that I have this now, and I'm definitely going to cherish it and use it. For the pens that I own, I try to get things that are very distinct from one another. Like, I don't want a single pen in 10 different colors. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I know people like to collect different models and stuff, but just for me personally, I prefer to buy like distinct pens. So one of the types of pens that I wanted to get was like a wooden pen, but there just aren't a lot of wooden pens out there that I like. So this was actually like a really lucky find, because although this is marble, I don't know if you can see, but it resembles wood grain. So it's super cool. I will try to get some close-up shots. This also came with an ink, and it's a beautiful match. I'm feeling a little bit shaky, so my handwriting's not the best currently, but this is probably the smoothest pen that I own. Like, as soon as I tried it for the first time, I just felt something in my body. Like, it was so smooth, and yeah, I just love this so much. Anyways, this is the day that I got the pen, and I bought it from Appel Boom. They are amazing, and they also tune the nibs for you, so it writes super well right out of the box. And it came packaged with this like craft paper that has like navy splatters, so I kind of pulled from that, and I used like brown and navy for the overall theme. Okay, this was January 18th. This was actually my sister's birthday, but we decided to celebrate on Sunday instead. But this was the day we did like whatchamacallit, like a clearance sale, and it was very crazy. At the peak, there were 367 emails in the inbox, not 367 total. I would estimate between me and Sophia, who is my assistant, I think we probably responded to over 1,000 emails on this day. It is a little bit mind-boggling. And as you can see, I kind of broke my usual layout of having the to-do list and all of that. I will often adjust the way I do things to fit whatever circumstance. And on this day, I just didn't have many things on my to-do list. All I did was literally just respond to emails. With that being said, I want to quickly mention I have gotten like people apologizing for sending email and stuff like that, even though like I draw this like emoji that's like super stressed and all of that. Please do not ever feel bad for sending email. It is literally my job and I'm supposed to help. So just like how one might complain to their coworker about their job, I complained in my journal. Anyways, moving on to Sunday. Again, we had my sister's birthday dinner. I used the vertical washi from the Q1 subscription, and I definitely want to do more vertical washies this year. I think I got into it last year, but I haven't done too much with it. I think it looks really unique, and it's good for time blocking in the weekly section if you want to. Okay, then on this day I wanted to set up my traveler's notebook, so I was brainstorming some ideas on what I wanted to use the inserts for. I got an order from Taroko Design. They make some of my favorite notebooks for fountain pens, so I placed another order for that. I had a sushi night on this day, and this was like the label that the restaurant included. Alright, this was a heavy design day, and this is when I finished Notes from Underground and I started the Post Office Girl. These are some scraps I saved from the doodling tutorial. Okay, I have to show you this. I love this doodle. Me having a good day, and that emoji is like creeping up, and it's my brain. 1 pimple gone, 3 arrive. So wonderful. And then here I made a little legend of the tiny icons. I wanted to actually define what each of them is going to be for, so there's that. This is the Chinese zodiac washi tape, and this is like the one time of the year that I can use it, so I had to use it on 2 pages. Although, like, because I made it on a light pink, I feel like it can be used any time of the year. It's like universal enough. Oh yes, so I thought that my parents and I agreed to have dinner on Wednesday, but it was actually Tuesday. So that's why I said, or rather I wrote, a planner who can't plan. But yeah, my parents, thankfully they didn't get started on dinner yet, so we still had it on Wednesday. Oh, and then a lovely customer of mine, she sent me some Twisbies and some washi tapes, which, yeah, it's over here. And then I also got another kind care parcel from a customer. I don't know if I should say the names, so I'll just keep it private for now, but it really makes my day, so thank you so much. These letters look really wonky because, oh, let me grab it. This is a nifty thing from Kaweco. So these are like interchangeable stub nibs. It like screws in and it takes a cartridge, and it's super cool. I have been wanting to practice with stub nibs, so I thought I would get something relatively affordable. I think this was like 20 bucks, and I think this would be a good way to practice. And evidently I need a lot of practice because this is very wonky. And again, these are some washi tapes that one of my lovely customers sent me. I think this busy day writing looks decent, so maybe I am getting better. And then this is a washi. It's really pretty foil. So that is it for January, and then I will also show you the back. So this is a little update for my fruits and veggies tracker. So initially when I did my Hobonichi cousin setup, I said that every single time I eat a produce item with a sticker, I'm going to stick it down, write what it is and the date. But I quickly realized that that was very ambitious and infeasible because most of my diet is fruits and veggies, so it's gonna like fill up very quickly, and I'm definitely gonna forget to save all of the stickers. So I think something a little bit more doable is just collecting all of the different stickers, if that makes sense. So I have a lot of apples, avocado, yellow dragon fruit, kiwi, and I think that's, oh, I have a pear as well. This is my favorite one. I got a Fuji apple, which it says top quality on there, but it was not top quality. It was very crunchy, but there was no flavor whatsoever, and I was genuinely offended by that fruit. So there's that. And then this is my empties page, and so far I have finished 2 things: my CeraVe day cream and 100 pills of medication. There's really no like super functional purpose for this, but I think it's fun to keep track of, and also it really motivates me. I want to add more to this, so it's like motivating me to actually use all of my products and also realize that I don't need 5 different moisturizers, you know. Really excited to add more to this throughout the year. And I think that's basically it for this video. I skipped on showing the pocket bullet journal and the commonplace notebook because I don't have too many updates for this month. I will probably show it next month. And also, again, I am very low energy right now, so I don't really want to record for too long. So yeah, I will catch up with you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. Bye. Hi, happy September 1st. This is going to be my August planner update where I show a flip through of all of my planners and journals from the month of August. So let's just get started because I have a lot to cover. First up, I am going to talk about this new addition to my lineup. I know a number of you have seen this and you have been waiting for me to talk about it. This is what I'm calling my ADHD planner, and I don't think I will talk about it apart from this video just because I am very new to this and I am still personally trying to deal with it myself. I know that ADHD is different for everyone, and I just don't think I have any authority to talk about it. So anyways, this has been really helping me with staying productive and focused on what I have to do. It is a very simple layout. So all I do is I turn this notebook landscape wise, and I'm just using my mild liner highlighter in the gray color, the chisel tip, or sorry, this is a bullet tip, and I just freehand draw a margin. On the left column, this is where I very simply write down the date, and then on the right column, this is where I write down my to-do list. And essentially how this works is every time I sit down to get some work done, I write down everything that I want to do in the exact order that I want to do it in, and then I check things off as I finish them. And then whenever I get up, I leave my desk to take a break. Maybe it's like grabbing lunch or something. I once again use my mild liner and I just section it off. And then the next time I go back to my computer, ready to work for the next few hours, I again make a to-do list just for that work block. This really helps me because since I have just a lot of things to do, I get very overwhelmed and distracted. So I might be working on one thing and then in the back of my head, I'm panicking because I have like 20 other things to do. And what ends up happening is I do a little bit of everything, but I get nothing done. And I'm also extremely anxious because I'm, again, like working on a billion other things. So in short, this just helps me really keep focus on what I have to work on in the present instead of worrying about what I have to do later in the day. And you might be wondering, like, how does this differ from the to-do list that I make in my Hobonichi Cousin every morning? Like, is this not, repetitive? It actually works together very beautifully, at least for me. So in my Hobonichi Cousin, I make this to-do list in the morning. I just run through my head exactly what I need to do today. And none of this is in chronological order. It is just whatever pops into my head first. So again, this is like a jumbled version of everything that I have to do for the day. And then when I go to actually work, I refer to this list and I kind of extract things into the order of importance and write it down chronologically. Another difference is you might notice that like at the very beginning of all of my work blocks, see, emails, literally like almost at the beginning of every work block, I write down emails and social media run through. This is where I basically just go through my email inbox and quickly check social media, respond to stuff, just like 15 to 20 minutes. This is something that I do periodically throughout the day. I am not gonna check emails like 5 times over here. In fact, I don't think I even write it in here anymore. So essentially, this is extremely nitty-gritty, and to some people it might seem just a bit obsessive and like, what is the point of writing down something that you know you're gonna have to do anyways? But for me, it helps tremendously with my anxiety and focus, just writing down every step that I have to do. I do add little bits of stickers and washi tapes and little notes on the side, but I do keep it very functional and minimal because at its core it is a tool for me to be productive. And again, everyone experiences ADHD differently, and I'm not sure if this will help anyone. I get actually a lot of comments from people saying how I could never do the kind of planning that you do because I have ADHD. And in my head, I'm like, I have ADHD too. So it's just very different for everyone. And I do hope that if you experience something similar in terms of focus, this system might be a worthwhile thing to try. Maybe you have to tweak it for yourself. So yeah, I think this is all I will say about this. I probably won't flip through this in future videos, at least every month, because it is literally just a continuous to-do list and it's not very interesting to look at. I might add a little vinyl on the front though. So next up, I'm going to talk about my reading journal, which I am so happy because I started reading a lot more in August. That is very relative though, because I know there are people out there who are reading like 3 books a week and aiming for like 200 books a year. I literally only read like 10 to 20 minutes a day. So by reading a lot, that is relative to previous months for myself. But yeah, anyways, I am very happy to report that on August 25th, I finally finished Walkable City. I started reading this book in June, so it's been about 2.5 months. Kind of ridiculous, but yeah. These are all of my notes. I took quite a bit of notes, and I did give it 3 stars because it was interesting, but I think it was due to the excitement of reading my first book on urban planning. I feel like if I have read other better urban planning books, I wouldn't have enjoyed this one as much, but still a lot of valuable information. And I actually couldn't fit all of my notes in here, so I had to like tag it in over here. This page is an entire mess. Okay, I also finished rereading Thinking with Type on August 17th. This was a pretty quick read because the book had mostly graphics, but I just wanted to revisit this book. I already read this book like 2 years ago, and I just wanted a refresher. And this one was really fun because I took some notes with different colored pens, and they're more like artistic notes. My rating though of 3 stars remains the same as 2 years ago. And then because I had so much space left, I took some notes on some articles that I read, and then again I tagged on some extra notes from Walkable City. And then I started a new book called Tom Lake, and I think it's a relatively popular book, not too sure, but I had a lot of people commenting that they have read it as well. So I am about 65% through, and so far I'm really enjoying it. It is a very cozy book, and I think if you're just looking for something that feels good and to kind of round off summer, I think this would be a good book for you as well. There's that. And then I also started reading She Has Her Mother's Laugh, which is a nonfiction book about basically genetics and like inheriting traits. Really enjoying this book so far, and I just finished part 1 this morning, so those were my thoughts about it. And I think that's it for my reading journal. So yeah, very happy to be reading more again. I hope that I can finish books at a faster pace. So there's that. I have my pocket bullet journal, which unfortunately I did not finish in the month of August as I hoped, but literally just a few pages left. So definitely September. Okay, so this was my August monthly, which I didn't update too much, as you can see, but I think I will try to continue this again for September. I do really like this format. These are all of the June washi swatches, which I think I showed in my previous update already. So there's that. And then this is a vertical spread of my, like the transition week from July to August. This was a very hectic week because I was preparing for the birthday sale event, and it was the week before I flew to New York. And then in between I have some personal notes, so I'm just gonna flip over that. This was after I came back from New York and I had a lot to catch up on. But I did spend a lot of time doodling these flowers, so I really like this. Okay, and then this was me experimenting with a quote-unquote Hobonichi Weeks style layout. Over here, I wrote down all of my timed events, and then over here, I wrote some to-do list of the main focus of the day. And then here, I just did a big brain dump throughout the week. And then lastly, this is a little sketch of my 2025 planner plans. This is what I plan on getting from the Hobonichi launch. And then these are my other planners, which I already have all of these, so none of them I actually need to purchase. I will definitely talk about my 2025 planner system when everything comes in and I can show everything more tangibly. So yeah, that is all for my pocket bullet journal, and fingers crossed I can finish this in the month of September. Cool. Last but not least, I have my Hobonichi cousin. Oh my gosh, brain fart. This is my fitness tracker. A few more to fill out, so I haven't finished this chart. So I have to say, after I don't know how many years of keeping my step count goal of at least 10K steps, I broke it in the week of New York. And it absolutely pained me. Oh my gosh. I think it is so ironic because New York is such a walkable city, and I think most people, when they go to New York, their step count actually increases. But for me, it actually decreased to like, I think it was 3,000 to 5,000 steps. But it was because I was basically just standing at my vendor stall for 8 to 12 hours for those few days. So that is why like the only steps that I got was like to get food, and unfortunately my streak has been broken, but that is okay, we move on. Okay, anyways, this is my August monthly spread. I will say I have finished the 2025 monthly kit formats, and because I made improvements to that format, I look at my 2024 format in disgust. Okay, that is a little bit dramatic, but hopefully you can understand what I mean. Like, because I made little tweaks, I can just see all of the quote-unquote problems that aren't actually problems in the 2024 kit. So anyways, I wasn't too inspired to continue planning in the monthlies, but I think this is okay. Let's look at the weekly section. I was very happy because I got to use the Coffee Monster Robert Oster ink. It is this lovely brown, and just looking at this makes me so happy. I think I showed part of this in the July planner update, so I won't talk too much about it. And then this was my week in New York, so I used the Concrete Jungle 2.0 washi tape, which is the nighttime version. I think I actually like the nighttime version more than the daytime version because like you can see the foils pop more in the sky. And again, this was when I was in New York, And I don't know why I bothered to do a habit tracker. I do really like how I did the Monday to Sunday icons. Also, I don't think I planned this day to day. If I recall, I left a lot of empty spaces, and then after the stationery fest was over, I went back and filled in a lot of things. So yeah, and I used a lot of like New York and city related deco because I have no other chances to use it. So there's that. And then this was a catch-up week after New York. As you can see, I was kind of spiraling because I felt very out of routine. This is a fun veggies washi that I got from Jet Pens. For this week, I used the Little Sprouts washi from my shop, and I love how just simple this looks, but obviously still very cute, and I love the pops of green, so there is that. We also had my baby nephew's birthday party on this day. And then this is this current week. This is a camping washi from Mindwave, and I got it from Wonder Pens a while back. And it is a thicker washi, so I just ripped it in half and kind of sandwiched the actual day in between. And I really like doing this because in the very early mornings, I'm obviously not awake, and I'm also not awake at I guess this also counts as morning, but what else can I say? Oh yes, I did some color coding. The blue is personal things, and then black is work things. And I also drew a circle around this medication tracker thing because I started a new medication on this day, so I thought this would be a nice way to indicate that. And that is basically it. I really like all of my weekly spreads, and I think I said this in my previous July update as well, but I think I finally found my personal perfect balance between stickers and pen use. Does that make sense? Like, I'm still using a good amount of stickers and washi tapes, but also not an overwhelming amount. And for that reason, I'm able to keep up with it a lot better. And then moving on to the daily pages. Wait, August, here, okay. Usually I start off with things that I want to bring into August, so usually like good habits, and then things that I want to leave in the previous month, so any bad habits obviously. I really love this teal color. Perfect for summer, and it matches the Oceans washi really well. This was the day we had my birthday sale, which is probably our biggest event of the year. So obviously I was really stressed, and that is why this spread looks different from my usual format. So I made a to-do list of priorities. This is a sticky note that I just stuck on. And then I also made a list of things that I want to do tomorrow. A little bit of journaling here. And then on the day of, I didn't want to write down a to-do list. I already have it over here. And instead I just did very casual check-ins throughout the day. And this way I just wasn't too pressured to journal. But as you can see, I did end up finding some time to fill out this page, which is great. The next day, oh yeah, so this was when August 4th. This is when I thought of this format for my ADHD planner. I don't think there's anything notable to say here. And then this began my New York Chronicles. This is kind of funny. I literally forgot it was my birthday, and I added this as an afterthought. I do want to talk a little bit about how I adopted this layout, because as you can see, it is again very different from my usual format. So I really wanted to keep up with my daily prompts, so I successfully did that. That was kind of my bare minimum. So under the today column, this is where I answered the daily prompt. It could be a sentence or 2 paragraphs, whatever. I just drew a line, and then this is where my daily entries started, and I just moved it to the larger column. So no to-do list, everything is just journaling. And if you either saw my Instagram reel or my TikTok, you would have seen that I had to retroactively plan a lot of this. So for any entries, yeah, you can see I preface with retroactive entry, retroactive entry, retroactive entry. So yeah, a lot of it I filled out after I came back from New York, and I had a lot of fun pasting in different ephemeras and stickers that I collected. This was cut out from a Leven Bakery postcard. Lemon. I was very happy about this. So the sweetest people, Nia, Shelly, Mary, Randy, Kimberly, Ashley, and Megan, they pulled together a snack parcel for me, and they call themselves the Coffee Monsters Co-Fan Club. And I was so tickled because I happen to have a sticker of 7 emojis, and there are obviously 7 people here. These are some Trader Joe's stickers, a little doodle of my kind of cafe setup. This was after the festival was over, but I was still in New York, so I basically just camped out at cafes and got some work done. So I just wrote it down on the sticky note, and some more doodles of like food and places that I went to. This was the day I flew back to Vancouver, so I have my plane ticket here. And then this was my first full day back in Vancouver, and I had a lot of things to do. I made this priorities list before I flew back, so I just pasted it in here instead of rewriting the to-do list. I also forgot to do my daily prompts, so I did it on Tuesday. What is a daily inconvenience you face? My brain, pretty darn annoying. I cannot recall exactly. I think I might have something personal underneath. Let me actually check. Okay, yes, I wrote down some very personal thoughts underneath, and I obviously don't want to broadcast that, so I just pasted on this notepad thing. Some stranger somewhere still remembers you because you were kind to them when no one else was. And I think that is a very nice thing to keep in mind. Again, I was very out of routine these few days, so I wasn't back to my usual format. I'm a little bit spooked because I have flipped to this exact spread 3 times by chance from my usual format. As you can see, it is again very different in these few days. So anyways, let's see. Oh yes, on Instagram, I saw this really nice infographic by My Easy Therapy, and it was about overworking, and I thought it was quite relatable, so I copied a lot of the relevant things here. If you want to read it, you can pause. And then recently, I have been really into carving my own stamps out of erasers. I actually carved one for the festival, and I carved another one, which is an emoji with a sardine fish on the head, and I stamped it in here. And then this is when I started reading Tom Lake. I accidentally used an ink pad that it wasn't chalk ink, so it bled through to the other page, so I covered it up with this sticky note. This was from the Q3 subscription. I love this chubby little emoji, and I wrote, "I know you're trying. Love, Helen," from Thursday. Not sure if there's anything notable here. Not the biggest fan of these threads. I think I was still very stressed. As you can see, I didn't even bother checking off anything from my to-do list. This was a fun spread. One of my customers, Monica, she gifted me a set of Taylor Swift shimmery stickers, like deco stickers. And this one is from the Lover album, so it's like very purpley and pink and blue. And I just used it throughout these 2 pages. Okay, I really like this. I doodled a paint palette, and then I used little dot stickers of various colors as the quote-unquote paint, and I think that looks really fun. On this day, just very impulsively at night, I decided to go for a trail run, which probably wasn't the best choice. It was pretty dark outside, and I decided to run in the woods. Not my proudest decision, but I went, and the reason why I wrote that was whack was because 3 birds flew into me. Like, how does that even happen? I've never had that happen before, and during this run, again, 3 birds crashed into me, so that was interesting. Okay, moving on. This was the day of my nephew's 1-year-old birthday party. It took up most of the day, so I just did a little to-do list and then I journaled throughout the day. As you can see, I really adapt my spreads to each circumstance, and this is what I love about the Hobonichi cousin. Several months prior, my nephew made this little doodle, and I think this is his first piece of quote-unquote art, so I kept it and I taped it in here. A very precious memory. What is something you didn't understand until you went through it yourself? And this was quite a personal answer. So I wrote it underneath, and this is a sticky note, and I wrote, "None of your business." Okay. I kept the little washi sticker from the Mindwave washi because I think it is very cute. I think I had a rough few days. Spoke too soon, -2 out of 10 day. Tomorrow will be better. I know it will be. And then the next day, good evening, good night. Life. Yes, this was another rough day. You know what? I am going to put down a no time to write sticker. Problem solved. Thursday, I used this super fun washi tape, and I also stamped on the open book stamp. And then this is today. I doodled some fun little lavenders with, oh yeah, my new Sailor ink pens. And I really like this. I should actually write down the heading. Whenever I do swatches, I always let it dry before I write the heading on top, and sometimes I just forget to write the heading. So anyways, I think that is it for this planner update. Overall, I am pretty satisfied about the month of August. I mean, I started a new planner system to help manage my ADHD, and it's been working really well. Almost done my pocket bullet journal. I was able to read a lot more. I finished 2 books, started 2 books, and I'm relatively happy with all of my Hobonichi week spreads as well. The only thing that I'm unhappy about is my unfortunate step streak that got broken. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful September ahead. Lots of excitement in the air, especially with the Hobonichi launch happening. I think it's actually August 31st for us in the West. Or is it September 1st? Not too sure. But anyways, lots of excitement in the air. I hope you have a wonderful September, and please take care. Bye. Hello, hope you're doing well. This is going to be my July planner update. I'm pretty happy with all of the spreads that I did in my planners this month, so let's get on with it. I'm gonna first start with my accessory journals, and then I will show my Hobonichi cousin. Okay, so this is my pocket bullet journal, which I am so close, so close to being done, and you can already see some signs of wear and tear, but I really like the look of it. Anyways, I have been quite inspired in the month of July in this little guy, so I have quite a few fun things to show. Starting off really strong is this fun Dutch store layout that I tried. I basically just cut off the bottom section of a few pages, and then in this column I wrote down my overall weekly to-do list. These are things that aren't specific to a certain day. I just knew that I needed to get it done this week. And then for each of the days, I wrote down the day specific to-do list. And you can also see, like with the headings, I assigned a color for each day. And as I worked through my weekly to-do list, I used the coordinating colors for each day to highlight things, so I can kind of see like which to-do list item I got done on which day of the week. Hopefully that made sense. I know it's a little bit convoluted, but it was honestly what I needed during this week, which, as you can see, was quite a hectic one. So yeah, I also doodled this little kind of like gassed out emoji by the end of the week because I was very tired. These were just some notes that I took for the 2025 monthly kits. I posted this like opinion post in the Facebook group, and just like all of our Facebook group members were commenting different things that they liked and didn't like about the 2024 monthly kits. And yeah, I was just taking some notes about that. Whoa, okay. This is just a pretty standard vertical layout with a to-do list. I did this kind of like weekly overview thing, didn't finish off the habit tracker. I also had a doctor's appointment and I wanted to take some notes, but not necessarily like display it. So I just folded down the page and secured it with this Hospital Heroes washi tape. And the idea was that I would continue my to-do list and I can see the weekly overview no matter where I have it open to, but I just never ended up finishing this spread, so that's a shame. I might just fill this out with some doodles later on. July 26th, I went on a shopping trip with my sister because I wanted to pick up a few dresses and these doodles were done with watercolors. As an early birthday gift, my sister got me the Canon IV portable photo printer, which is super exciting. I honestly just like with working on the sale items and the 2025 monthly kits and the stationery fest prep, I haven't had like any personal life. So I haven't had the chance to set this up yet, but eventually I will, and I will keep you updated on that. This was another very busy weekend. So I created a column of things to do over the weekend, and then I also created 2 more to-do lists for things that I had to do specific to Saturday and Sunday. So that was a lot. I really like these little floral doodles, and my nephew also came over this weekend, so that was fun. Another busy week. You can probably see that I have been a little bit stressed these past few weeks, but for this week I had kind of like a big main thing for every day. So in order to keep my head straight, I decided to create this weekly overview so I can write down the main thing for every single day. And then I just continued my to-do list over here. And then I did a little bit of journaling. This is my August calendar overview, a very simple layout. I just used a highlighter and drew bars across, wrote the numbers on the bars, and then whatever I have going on just under the numbers. I had a little bit of space, and typically I would fill it with doodles or something, but I decided to make it a little bit more functional this time, and I just wrote down like a summary of what this week is going to be about. So for example, this week I have the June pre-orders shipping, and I also have a bunch of deadlines for the 2025 monthly kits. So yeah, I think this is really cute and also quite functional. And for any of the days that are not part of the month, I just blocked it out with washi tape. This is the Around the World washi tape, which is kind of like a map, and I used it because I'm traveling next week. This is just so happy looking. These are the June pre-order washi tapes, which are currently starting to ship, and I just love them so much. Especially, I think my favorite is the oceans, and second favorite is probably the fruits. Oh, and then I think we raised almost $8,000 with this washi tape, I think. I posted the receipt on the listing, but yeah, that was really, really cool. thank you for all of your support with that. And then moving on to this week, I did this literally just today, another very busy week. So I did a weekly overview and I'm gonna just keep writing down my to-do list. Oh, and I just did like a black swatch with a white jelly roll on top. So I think this looks really cool. I always see Lauren do this and I love how it kind of just pops out on the page. So yeah, those are all of my spreads in the pocket bullet journal. I just have a little over 20 pages left to go. So I should probably finish this in August or September. Not too sure if I'm being too ambitious about it. And I also have my next pocket bullet journal lined up. It is going to be the black, I'm going to use the black cover with the emoji pencil design. I will post a photo on the screen, so I'm really excited about that. This one is my little notebook of curiosity, which I'm not going to flip through because I literally made a video about it 2 weeks ago, so I will link the video down below. And then this is my reading journal, which I made a little bit of progress in. Again, just like with all of my work, I haven't been reading as much, but I am still reading Walkable City. I have been reading this book for about 2 months at this point. But yeah, I am currently on section 5 and these are all of my notes so far. I left 2 empty pages in anticipation for the rest of the book. And then I also started rereading Thinking with Type. It's a typography book and I actually already read this book 2 years ago, I think. But I didn't really read it very seriously. So I wanted to revisit that and hopefully just improve my graphic design skills a little bit. So these are my notes for that, and I did a little bit of fun color mixing with my fountain pens. So that is it for my reading journal. And then last but not least, we have my Hobonichi cousin. This is my first month in the July to December book, and I am very happy with it. I have also mentioned this a few times, but a lot of people have been asking whether I will continue with the AVEC. For 2025, I plan on just getting the full year Hobonichi Cousin book. Okay, so this is my year at a glance, which I use as my fitness tracker. This is my little key. I track my steps with the mild liner highlighters, and then I track my workouts on the side, and these are just like general important dates. I messed up a few days and shaded in the wrong square, which kind of bothers me, but what can you do? And then at the very bottom, this is where I will fill in my average step count for the month, and then this is like a visual graph of my steps as well. Is this a bit obsessive? Probably, but it makes me happy. Moving on to the weekly section. I am very pleased to say that I have, I think, basically finished. That's a little empty. But like I have mostly finished all of my weekly spreads so far for the month of July. Now the question is it due to the novelty of starting a new book? I'm not too sure about that. Only time will tell. I have just kept it really simple, and I think I found a good balance between using stickers and washi tapes and just like my pen for writing. So anyways, this first week was using the Q3 subscription. This was a collaboration with Two Little Bees. I am in love with these florals and this like denim blue background. I have just been starting off with like a single sticker and overview of the week, a section for my habits with the tiny icons, and then at the end of the week, if I feel like it, I will write down a few bullet points of what went on during the week. And I just think this is working out really well for me. I have been using a lot of tiny icons to denote repetitive things, and then my larger emoji stickers for things that are kind of out of the ordinary. This was using the Summer Critters washi tape because, yeah, we had a heat wave and it was a very sweaty and sunny week. Lots of work. This week I was feeling just completely overwhelmed. I did not feel like a human at all. I feel like I've been talking about this for the past few weeks, but I am currently working on the 2025 monthly collection, and I know this sounds really dramatic, but I feel like I have killed a part of myself for this collection. Like, that is how much I am devoting myself to this. So yeah, this week I couldn't. So I used this Down Days washi, which is kind of like a poor mental health day design. It was a very accurate reflection of my week. But yeah, anyways, it was basically all work. Okay. Then this week was very hectic but very exciting because a lot of it was revealing the specialty items for the birthday sale. On Monday, I revealed the fountain pen inks, the new kits, and then on Sunday, I did a big reveal of 5 things at the same time, and I filmed this like fun video for Instagram. Lots of fun things like this like fountain pen pouch, another like standing pouch, and what else do I have? Also this like sticky note and two plastic envelopes. So anyways, 5 things at once, and that was really exciting. I also used the sunrise to sunset kit, which I really like. So as you can see, I don't use my Hobonichi cousin kits every single week, and when I do use them, it is, I think, relatively minimal, just like a few labels and decorative elements. So with this like more minimal style, I typically use a single kit over 2 to 3 weeks, and it works out really well. So there's that. And then this is this current week, which obviously I have not finished. This is the desk clutter washi tape, which this emoji that is just laying down, he is a whole mood. And oh, I'm also using the Coffee Monster fountain pen ink this week, which is super exciting. I'm definitely biased, but this is my perfect brown. I also have the birthday sale marked, and then let's move on to the daily section. I created this little flap thing. It's basically a monthly checklist of what I have to do at the beginning, middle, and end of the month. It's always a very hectic time for me, so this allows for me to just refer to this list anytime. These are some swatches.